Come on, bitch, let's go. Come on, get ready, bitches. You haven't seen nothing yet. Come on.
Valentino, Versace, Lamborghini, Bugatti. I got money to burn. I'm single and I'm naughty.
Come on.
Tiffany's, Cartier, Gucci on Marty.
Come on.
Break out your black card, boys. It's time to party.
Hi, you guys. How you doing? I'm calling all the way from Europe. Isn't that exciting? Using it as a launch pad before I head off to Italy. Yay. John's loving it. We're doing sightseeing around the place. It's so fun. Little jet lagged this week, not gonna lie. Been trying to recover really quickly for today's show. Maybe bit off a little more than I could chew, but that's okay. Hanging in. So it turns out that Sutton Stracke pissed off some friends of hers. And I don't mean ones on the show. And they had all sorts of sordid tales to tell me about her. So that was kind of interesting. I guess she's not as sweet as everybody thinks. I don't know. I'm not ready to talk about too much of that yet. But I did want to say that turns out Sutton is kind of not as nice as you would imagine. And a lot of her idiosyncrasies that have come out over the years and kind of climaxed this season, I guess magnified in real life, can be kind of annoying. And some people can be left feeling betrayed by her, which is something you might want to consider. And no, I'm not talking about Avi. I'm actually talking about some other people. It's almost like Sutton's becoming another Adriana Demora. You know her from Real Housewives of Miami. Almost all of the cast members that were friends with her really just felt that Adriana has never been a friend to them and highly manipulative and setting them up and using them in ways that was so surprising for me to hear. And I guess Sutton is getting a reputation behind the scenes with people that she's encountering that's pretty similar to Adriana from Real Housewives of Miami, or so I've heard. Oh, by the way, PK Kemsley seems to be spending a lot of time in London right now. He's been with his kids quite a bit, his adult kids, that is. He also, of course, has been visiting with his younger kids, making sure to post it so that we don't think that he's just like left and not seeing Dorit's kids at all. I say Dorit's kids because she's, got the primary custody at the moment, although they're fighting that out in the divorce court. But, in case you don't know, PK was married to Loretta Gold, and he has two adult daughters, Tatum and Atlanta Kemsley, and also Daniel. And he was taking pictures with him during the UEFA Europa League Championship. And his son is a Tottenham fan, but that's because actually PK has had involvement with that team in the past. In fact, way back on October 16, 2007, PK suddenly quit his post as the vice chairman to concentrate on his other business interests. Get this, in the U.S. Think about that for a second. Now, PK is very good friends with the head of this soccer team. His name is Sir Alan Sugar. He was on the board. Then he actually gets involved, like more so with the team. He goes to Sevilla in Spain and tries to get a gentleman by the name of Sergio Ramos to join the team to help them out. But I don't think he did. He also tried to get the club a bigger stadium, and he even bought properties all around where they were talking about doing this, which was, I guess, White Hart Lane, to try to redevelop the area around this new stadium that he was trying to pitch. Now, at the time, the reason PK said he wanted to leave was oddly because he wanted to get on top of his businesses, not in the UK, but in the US. Now, remember, his bankruptcy happens in 2011, which is right around when he meets Dorit Kemsley in New York. But in true PK form, a lot of people thought that the real reason that he was suddenly quitting was because he had a falling out with the chairman of the club, Danielle Levy. He also tried to expand the merchandising for the team, which is something that you guys know he's done from time to time for different UK celebrities and other U.S. people he's managed or had involvement with. Now, what's really funny is Lord Sugar, who ran this team that PK was good friends with, which is how he kind of gets the opportunity, also had a property show on TV in the UK. And in fact, he dropped an article for the Irish Sun that said this. He actually went public and said, hey, I will not do like my good friend Lord Sugar did on his show, kind of dragging him, but instead I'm going to treat the 8 wannabe agents on my show kind of like my own children. He said, I actually want to do the total opposite of The Apprentice. I find that saying you're fired very harsh and very 80s. I think that it's time to move on. I've got 5 kids and I want to be who I would be happy for my kids to be with, how they would be spoken to. The tough boardroom stuff from The Apprentice was great when we did it, but we just live in a completely different time now. Because CPK was on that show too, and so was Lord Sugar. And then PK said, I'm no Rottweiler, I'm a puppy. Well, right after he left this soccer team to go check on his, quote, U.S. interests and companies, he actually began the beginning of the end because all of his, several million to $50 million properties went into some sort of bankruptcy or foreclosure in the 2008 crash, which was what triggers him to lose his 500 million, I put that in air quotes, business empire, because it all collapses then. What's interesting is all the press was how after all that happened, he went to America to seek out his fortune. But I found that whenever he was talking about the soccer team that he mentions on his Instagram, what he's actually saying is he had a previous American bunch of ventures he was doing before 2008. And that's why he really needed to quit the soccer team. Now, I don't think that's the truth, but that's what he said. And I found that very interesting because in the press that follows post-bankruptcy, he's kind of makes it sound like he'd never been to the U.S. before, really. Now he's going to pave his way in the world. Anyway, sadly, you guys know that his show, Selling Super Houses, got canceled after only 1 season on Channel 4. So they weren't looking for a Rottweiler in England, and they weren't looking for a puppy either, it turns out. But I thought it was very funny that he posted this celebration with his son, celebrating his friend's old team, who he kind of drags when he comes out with Channel 4 Selling Super Houses, but yet owns the team, and now he's celebrating it. I'm wondering, does he want a job again? Maybe that would save him. Well, to be fair, after 2007 ended and PK left, so did Lord Sugar, who sold his stake in the Tottenham Hotspur soccer club or football club in Europe for $25 million. And he went on to be like the head of the boardroom, if you will, on The Apprentice in different jurisdictions in the UK and even in Australia. But he's hard, that's why he was called the Rottweiler. Now, I've told you in the past, there is a clique of Jewish people that are very powerful in real estate and entertainment and the music industry in the UK. And PK's in that clique. And so is Lord Alan Sugar. So that's kind of how they're all tied together. And they did really help each other quite a bit coming up over the years. But it's just an interesting part of PK's story that I don't think a lot of people know. And it's a really important part. And I have no doubt, even though he's fought with several of these guys in this group, that they're trying to help him out now that he's having all these problems, especially with Dorit Kemsley out of the picture. We haven't really heard a peep out of her. I'm sure she's trying to figure out Sutton Stracke's takedown for next season because, well, Sutton Stracke's tagline from season 14, I honor my fine Southern manners by putting you in your place, actually was yes, about Dorit Kemsley mainly, but also some other friends of hers that felt that she betrayed and manipulated them. If you know, you know. Now, Alexia Umansky has been celebrating her engagement with her man, and I noticed Erica Jane wasn't there, but Dorit Kemsley, Kyle Richards, Lisa Rennet, and Teddy Mellencamp were there to celebrate because Kyle, was really proud about posting it. I'm sure they're shooting it for the show. Mauricio Umansky has been spotted all over LA hotspots, as you guys know, a few few weeks ago, Mauricio was seen with like a girl who looked about, 27 or 28, blonde girl, really pretty, who he's making out with. And he also lifted her up and grabbed her by her butt for the paparazzi, really making a huge scene, which says to me, listen, he is not going back to Kyle Richards. It's just not happening. Now, they may be on amazing terms, especially with Alexia Umansky getting married. And I'm sure they talk a lot as good friends and everything, but I really don't think there's any kind of hint that Mauricio's slowing down in, his hookups. He's also been flying all over. He started a trip to go around the world. He's in Australia doing real estate conventions for the agency as a speaker. He's living his best life, although Kyle doesn't seem to be yet. She just seems to be doing motherly duties, but maybe that is Kyle's best life. But I thought I'd just say that. It's funny that the media keeps trying to kind of tease like maybe they're back together or maybe there's a hint of that, but there's no hint of that. So the Real Housewives of New Jersey fan base got really excited recently because I guess Lexi Manzo appeared on Gia Giudice's podcast to talk about what it was like when Tommy Manzo was leaving Dina. And what I guess she confirmed in this interview was that Dina was really abused by Tommy Manzo in the departure. Like he literally in the middle of the night threw Lexi Manzo out of their home. She tried to get Dina's stuff. He wouldn't let her. He's like, I will take you out for trespassing, all this stuff. She also alleged that he was looking at her maybe in a sexual way, which kind of bothered her because they were kind of close, but not that close. But like the way he was looking at her was weird. Funny, she's telling Gia Giudice this story, right? Wink, wink.
Can we talk like as if we're not going to go back on the past? Because I'm a good man, and I live with your four nieces. I wear your father's pajamas at night to make them feel safe and loving. Do you know that?
But I suppose what's more important is that Caroline Manzo, whose daughter is Lauren Manzo, chimes into the conversation about something that happened with like a garage sale. We talked about this a long time ago in the Patreon. And internally, in the Manzo Caroline side of things, this would be like Delores Catania, who supported Tommy Manzo, and Caroline Manzo's whole family in regards to Tommy Manzo, and then Jacqueline Larita a little bit in her family. So what happened was Lexi said that Lauren didn't help Lexi get her mom's things back from this garage sale that Tommy Manzo had without Dina's permission, where she was losing all of her like family heirlooms and all these things. And I guess Lexi was like, Lauren, my cousin, didn't help me. So then Lauren was like pissed because she heard the show. And so some of the fans got pissed and started yelling at Lauren Manzo on social media and said, why wouldn't you go get Lexi's things from the garage sale? You and your brothers and your mom, wow, family is everything, right? And then Lauren said, listen, because I don't have access to them. I don't have a relationship with my uncle Tommy Manzo. And I was told I was not allowed to access to the house. I went myself to the garage sale and tried to get her things back, and I was kicked out. I was on private property that wasn't my uncle's house. I could not break into the home to get her things. I did try everything. Now, to be fair, Lexi Manzo has done this before. She had a whole blog site where she wrote an essay. It's posted in the Patreon, where she first leaks all this information about Tommy Manzo and the torture he put her through, and about her mom too. Now, obviously, Gia Giudice having Lexi on the show and keeping this in the edit was a shot fired. And I did want to call this out to you guys rather than really this fight, which is kind of old news for the people in the Patreon. Lexi said they're not friends anymore, but they were like best friends. Me and Dolores' daughter, Gabby, were best friends growing up. It led to layers of pain for both herself and mom, Dina. And then she says, I don't think he, meaning Tommy, was making anybody do anything. It's what people really believed. I think a lot of people believe differently now that there's a guilty verdict. There's still certainly a lot of people that believe in him and believe he's innocent. Well, I can tell you from talking to Jacqueline Larita, which you guys know I have, she felt that everybody at the time, including Delores Catania, really believed that Tommy Manzo was kind of being exaggerated in the sense of how bad things were with him. They didn't know who to believe because Dina might have been kind of at the time, a woman scorned, pissed, like saying things. And they had such a different experience with Tommy Manzo that they almost didn't believe Dina 100%. I mean, certainly they believed a percentage, but not all of it. And so when Tommy Manzo approached Caroline and Delores, they wanted to do right by him and their experience of him, which was so different. And so they wrote what they really felt to the judge in their letters. But Dina and her family felt obviously like it was a betrayal because they really were going through all this torturous, awful stuff that he was doing and not letting anybody else in the circle sort of in on. And so that was the game. That is actually a testament to the master manipulator that Tommy Manzo is, because he's been called by people narcissist, really, truly. And he's done horrific things to the Manzo family now. So Caroline Manzo and her family at this point have nothing probably good to say about Tommy Manzo and don't have his back anymore because they began to see the true Tommy Manzo in things that he did later against them. People who went to bat for him when nobody did. So it's kind of interesting because Caroline Manzo's family gamble on Tommy Manzo being not as bad as he ended up being. So they lose that gamble. And Dina gambles that her family will have her back and, stand up for her over Tommy Manzo, but she loses that bet too. And in the end, the only family that's hurt is not Tommy Manzo, the person who started it all. It's actually Dina and Caroline Manzo's family. And Delores, who is like collateral damage in all of it. So I think that is such an irony, very Shakespearean. I thought it was interesting that Gia Giudice decided to put this out there. It makes me wonder where Teresa Giudice and Delores Catania's relationship really sits now. I want to say that. Also, I wanted to say that besides the, deep dive of Louis Ruelas's mortgage, which, as you guys know, we've gone deep on that one. It's so weird, and it's definitely not a straightforward mortgage from what you guys know we discussed on the last 2 shows about this. And you guys know that Garrett White is having, serious civil litigation problems. And Rusty Ram just got arrested and thrown in jail and is serving 10 years for leadless fraud against the elderly. Well, it's almost like every single person Louis Ruelas hangs out with, there's like some sort of testimony of their sketchy past, or they have really disturbing civil litigation they've incurred, or they've had some massive criminal indictment that's followed, especially to do with white collar crime, with leadless, etc. It's just this pattern. And I found another person that fits in this pattern. It turns out that Teresa Giudice has been posting this girl named Princess Vartainian, I guess it's a friend of hers, on her Instagram, and she appears to be married to a guy named Kirk Vartainian. And Kirk Vartainian just, I guess, helped coordinate booking Teresa Giudice for a Fresno appearance for the Standard Hotel chain. He also seems to be in with the Pappy State guys, out of Miami and Las Vegas. By the way, that's way overpriced. Now, I'm going to tell you why this caught my attention. Okay, first of all, he tags Robert Shapiro. Yes, O.J. Simpson, Robert Shapiro on this post. Like, why? I don't know. But he does for Teresa Giudice. And then I just got curious because I do that sometimes. And I'm like, who the hell is this Kirk Vartainian guy? Now, in the Patreon, sometimes I give you guys information and I'm not yet sure what to do with it. But I want to tell you what I found because it's so weird. So back in 2011, this guy ends up getting 5 years of probation and 1,000 hours of community service in connection with a no contest plea in Fresno County Superior Court to felony grand theft involving business dealings at his failed luxury car dealership in North Fresno. This guy took, I guess, $790,000 from customers of his dealership at this time. And this all happened in 2007 to 2008. So what did this guy do? He took money for cars and then never gave the luxury cars over. So Bentleys, Mercedes, didn't give him over. And then he moves to Vegas, but I guess he keeps somewhat of a footprint in Fresno too. Now, when all this went down, he also owned several nightclubs and restaurants too in the Fresno area. So he is like a big dialed guy in that space. Now, this wasn't the first time this guy had a run-in with the law. In 2009, he threatened to kill his wife with a kitchen knife, suffocate her with a pillow, and also slapped her in the face. This isn't Amanda, his current wife. This is his previous wife, Natasha Vartainian. She ended up divorcing him in 2011. He also was passing bad checks in Vegas, it looks like, and potentially not paying off gambling debts. So anyway, I kept digging because I'm like, there's no way Teresa Giudice is friends with this guy. I don't know how she's friends with this guy, but she ended up being, I think, the talent at his birthday event that was being co-hosted by the Standard Hotel in some way that he also promotes, because you can see in some of her posts, "Happy Birthday, Kirk," in the background. And Louis Ruelas is tagged by Teresa, and so is his wife, Princess Vartainian. And Teresa Giudice does show a bunch of pictures with them together on Teresa's feed going out for wine. And she says good friends about Kirk Vartainian and Amanda Vartainian. Anyway, the more I dug, the more I realized there were all these guys in the warrior group that sort of were around Teresa. And I just wondered, was this another guy involved with that? Maybe an introduction done by Louis for Teresa, and then she ends up becoming friends with the wife and doing this birthday and being paid. I don't know what it all means. But then after all this occurred, Jennifer Aydin posted this.
Oh, my cute new, I just love my cute new Chanel earrings that I got for my birthday from a very good friend. Thank you, Teresa. And they go perfect with my dress, my outfit today. Bye. We're going out. Happy Saturday night.
I wonder if Teresa used the money that Bill allegedly lent Louis Ruelas to buy those Chanel earrings, or if they're even real. So I don't know if Teresa Giudice invited Jennifer Aydin to this thing, but then she starts posting about this party she's making an appearance at, and there's like a table of booze and a giant stage, and she's tagging the Vartainians, mainly the wife, although it seems to be Kirk's birthday. And it's at this moment that I see Louis Ruelas and the desert behind him, like it looks like the desert, literally, and this giant stage, and there's people singing famous songs, and there's tons of tequila and champagne on the table in front of Teresa, and we glance on the stage and we see "Happy Birthday, Kirk," and I'm like, maybe it is an appearance after all. Maybe this is just a good friend of Louis, who maybe paid her like a fee to go and be on like his birthday thing, but really it's about them going more than anything. So this all goes down on Memorial Weekend, and everybody's wearing white, and it just really is unusual. And they don't have Teresa doing anything at the birthday, just sitting, if she is doing an appearance. I'm so confused. But I wanted to share this intel because it was so weird. And this guy has such a very unusual past back from 2009 to like 2011 with not delivering luxury cars to people and taking this money and then beating up his wife and all these weird things. I just had to bring it to your attention. Oh, by the way, he also got in trouble for not paying gambling debts. So I'll leave that with you to contemplate. I don't know what it means, but you know, when I get a lead on something, I try to share it so you guys can see what you think. Well, speaking of Gia Giudice and Louis Ruelas and Teresa Giudice and dads that make you feel weird, let's talk about Ariana Biermann, who just got ordered to pay $2,000 in fines, perform 40 hours of community service, eliminate alcoholic beverages or drugs unless prescribed, and complete an evaluation for substance abuse and take a victim impact program. She also has to have 2 years probation, which if she does anything wrong, she could face jail time. And she's going to have a probation officer from time to time contact her, where she'll be immediately immediately asked to provide a breath, saliva, urine, or blood specimen for analysis. And if she fails, she could end up in jail or some other punishment. So Ariana Biermann got the book thrown at her for the 2022 DUI. She said she wasn't drinking. She only vaped some sort of CBD thing the night before. I don't think they were buying it, but I do think they felt like she had remorse. So this was the settlement. And she ended up getting a guilty plea of reckless driving and possession and use of drug-related objects. So it wasn't a win, this plea deal, for her in any way, shape, or form, which says to me they had enough, but they gave her a break because of her age. Now, this is obviously right before the show is dropping. Next Gen NYC. Who knows? Maybe it'll be as good as a sex tape. Meanwhile, Brittany Cartwright has been doing a big tour trying to explain how bad what Jax Taylor did to her and the house was that was kind of teased on this week's Valley. This is important because a lot of people were like, how was this damaging to Brittany Cartwright because she didn't lose the house? Well, it turns out Brittany had to take over the payments, all of the mortgage payments that Jax missed, which was quite a few. She had to do a deal with the bank where she paid some of that back and increased mortgage payments. And then also she probably deferred the property tax because she couldn't afford it. Let me play you a sound clip.
He has not paid our mortgage since May. My mortgage used to be around $8,000. I pay $18,000 now because of his taxes.
People make mistakes in taxes every single day.
Season 3 of The Villains just got their cast announcement, and 2 people I was really excited to see on it are going to be main cast members, Tom Sandoval and Christine Quinn. Oh, poor Christine. Oh, God, they did her so dirty. It'll be hosted by Joel McHale, featuring Paul Abrahamian, Tyson Apostle, Kate Chastain, Jackie Christie, Drita Devanzo, Plain Jane, Johnny Middlebrooks, Ashley Mitchell, Tiffany New York Pollard, I guess again, and Christine Quinn and Tom Sandoval, as I said. They just got done filming Real Housewives of Salt Lake City reunion. And, it was making me think of Brittany Bateman because there's a whole bunch of drama between her and her last husband. She is suing him for $2.5 million. His mother is suing her for $100,000. The mother-in-law is saying she lent her money after she sold her $300,000 house because Brittany was hard up for her money. And then she asked for it back and Brittany never paid it. But then there was a previous dispute where Brittany was suing her husband for emotional abuse and narcissistic behavior for $2.5 million. And supposedly he took some money from her. So there's this. But it made me want to look up Brittany Bateman's website. And she was so funny. She is the cheesiest acting reel on there. It turns out Brittany's been an actress since college. And I would say she's probably acting on the show. I now do not believe anything the woman does on the show, really, because she's full-blown actress, character actress. She's also a real estate agent, but she doesn't look like she's that successful with it. So I don't think she makes a lot of money in real estate. But that's what Brittany Bateman does, which explains a lot about what we see on the show with her singing and the Christmas EP. And so I thought I'd share that going into the reunion. So you guys may have noticed on my Instagram right before I left, I posted an arrest video that was sent to me by Peaches. You rock, Peaches. And why I had posted that is because one of the main cast members from Next Gen NYC, Charlie Zakkour, was in the video of the arrest of a millionaire crypto trader. Now, Zakkour works with this trader and stays at his house. He wasn't arrested with him, but he was witnessing the arrest and he was shitting. And potentially, he might have witnessed the torturing of this guy. We'll have to see. I think he's probably going to be subpoenaed in this case. But this really famous millionaire crypto trader was torturing this guy to get his crypto codes so he could break into his crypto account and take his money. Or, this guy did him dirty and he was trying to torture him to get the money back. We don't know yet. This was what ABC News said when he was being arrested in the Soho, New York townhome he lived in.
The man dubbed the Crypto King of Kentucky waived his appearance in a New York City court today. John Waltz is one of 2 men now in custody accused of kidnapping and torturing a man in an upscale Manhattan townhome, all in an effort to steal his Bitcoin password. Our Olivia Rubin has the story.
Arrested barefoot and in a robe, Crypto entrepreneur John Waltz expected to appear in court today, accused of kidnapping and torturing a man to steal his Bitcoin password. But Waltz waiving his appearance at the last minute, his lawyer taking no questions.
I have no comment about the case.
Dubbed the Crypto King of Kentucky, Waltz now facing charges of kidnapping, assault, and unlawful imprisonment. He has not yet entered a plea to these charges. Overnight, a second suspect, 32-year-old crypto investor William Duplessis, also facing a judge after turning himself in. He also faces kidnapping, assault, and unlawful imprisonment charges, but did not enter a plea, a judge remanding him to custody. Prosecutors revealing new details about what they say went on in that multi-million-dollar Soho townhouse. Court documents say a 28-year-old man was allegedly tortured there for more than 2 weeks, lured from Italy under threats that his family would be killed. According to court documents, the victim, possibly a former business partner, was threatened, stripped of his passport and devices, then beaten, shocked, cut with a saw, forced to smoke cocaine, even dangled over a staircase.
Also, they peed on him, just saying. It's hard to tell the difference these days between a freak-off and a kidnapping.
Told to give up his Bitcoin password or be killed. The victim escaping after telling his captors he would go get his laptop and give up the password, but running outside instead, according to court documents. Inside that house, authorities say they found disturbing evidence, including a saw, drugs, night vision goggles, body armor, photos of the alleged victim with a gun pointed at his head, and blood in multiple rooms. Attorneys for both suspects had no comment when contacted by ABC News.
Kind of weird that Charlie Zakkour happened to be staying in the house and didn't know any of this was going on, huh? Especially since he's a big crypto guy. Sadly, they were denied bail, so I guess they won't be kidnapping anyone else in the meantime. But this guy is in with some pretty shady characters. Another girl implicated was Beatrice Fulci, an aspiring actress, 24, and luxury brand marketer. And she allegedly was like his assistant. I mean, probably dating him. But anyway, she was originally arrested, but they released her. I guess probably he said she had nothing to do with it. Now, his family has spoken up and said that he's easily manipulated and probably someone put him up to this in some way. This wasn't his idea. He's not the mastermind. That's what the family says. But I suppose what are they going to say? Now, I did a deep dive on... So the prosecution says that this is part of this new type of crypto kidnapping, theft crimes that are becoming so popular, but I'm not buying what they're selling. I think this was a dispute that goes way deeper and almost like mafiosa crypto situation. But let me tell you what the prosecution is saying they think it is. These kind of theft crimes are described as alleged kidnapping and torture, a wave of attacks targeting crypto whales, executives, and their relatives. These ransom schemes have even garnered a specific name, wrench attacks, due to their often violent nature. In one recent attack in France, a crypto founder had one of his fingers cut off, while in a separate incident, an influencer was found in the trunk of a car tied up and covered in gasoline. This whole deep dive crypto king torture chamber story, because I feel like there's so much left out and I'm really curious about this. So let me tell you a little more than what's generally in the press about what happened here. So the victim's name was Michael Vanlentino Teofrasto Carturan, and he was 28. He's from Rivoli, Turin, Italy, which is a wealthy northern Italian region. He went to an art high school and he graduated and studied permaculture. That's the development of agricultural ecosystems intended to be sustainable and self-sufficient. Now, I think I figured out the tie between this Italian guy and why he might have gotten kidnapped. So I'm going to tell you about that in a minute. He was allegedly worth $30 million in cryptocurrency. No criminal background, also not even trustworthy. So I found out that John Waltz had a company called Bluegrass Blockchain. So he was working on a board that was put together in Kentucky called the Kentucky Blockchain Technology Working Group. And he was involved as being a consultant in this group to educate how blockchain technology could protect natural gas pipelines, telecommunications, and other infrastructure in Kentucky. He also acts in educational courses with blockchain development and teaches people how to train existing developers in bluegrass blockchain region with fundamentals of blockchain development. For the full scoop, join the Dishing Drama Dana Patreon. The link is in this audio description. It's only $6 a month and you'll get the best information and tea about the things you care about and even the things you don't know you care about. What are you waiting for?